If you've been on YouTube recently and the algorithm remembers that you clicked on the Lord of the Rings quarantine reunion hosted by Josh Gad last year, you may have noticed Elijah Wood's face appearing a little more often than normal in your recommended tab. I, of course, noticed this, and after watching all of them, I was able to conclude that the beloved actor must be participating in what we in the biz call a press junket. Oh, I thought to myself, this must be about that Ted Bundy movie I added to my watch list 6 months ago. No, not that one. No, not that one. Not that one. There we go. I call Elijah Wood a beloved actor, and I think a lot of people would agree with me. His press junket videos get numbers. His recent Hot Ones appearance has over 4.4 million views, more than Ed Sheeran or Joseph Gordon-Levitt or Brie Larson, though not as many as Paul Rudd, Shia LaBeouf, or Michael Cera? Okay, that last one kind of hurts. To be fair, according to Google search trends, Michael Cera was last relevant more recently. It was in January 2010 when he got a makeover with the cast of The Jersey Shore. Matt, forget red states and blue states. Are you in an Elijah Wood state or a Michael Cera state? I'm getting off track. I'm not sure if this is unique, but I'm pretty certain Elijah Wood's interviews receive far more views than most of his actual movies. But why is that? Well, it's because we will never not want to know more about what it was like to make The Lord of the Rings. In fact, I'm pretty sure the conversation around this is like, Timmy, we're having Elijah Wood on next week. Cool, what is he promoting? An off-putting black comedy horror thriller where he has half a monk haircut. It's being marketed as savagely thrilling and wonderfully macabre. How about I ask him if he got to keep a pair of hobbit feet? I'd hazard a guess that most people can identify Elijah Wood by sight, and that some of them can maybe even remember Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, or if they're my age, Happy Feet. But there's more. A lot more. 1989's Back to the Future 2 is a film notable for a lot of things. One of these things is the terrifying Crispin Glover mask that incited both a landmark legal case regarding an actor's rights to their own face and image, and a lot of nightmares for me personally. Another notable aspect is the film debut of Elijah Wood.
You mean you have to use your hands? That's like a baby's toy.
His second film appearance was a by-the-books 1990 cop drama called Internal Affairs. Here he plays the son of a dirty cop in a bit part who gets a brief but memorable scene in which he tackles Alec Baldwin's second most famous brother. I love the anger,
Leave her alone!
but I'm just not really feeling the aggression on the tackle here.
Hey! What's going on there?
I swear, that's a smile. That same year, Elijah Wood appeared in Avalon, a sweet semi-biographical film from Barry Levinson, director of Good Morning Vietnam, and father of the guy who makes the HBO show where Zendaya does drugs. It's the story of a Jewish family assimilating to life in America, and it was nominated for 4 Academy Awards, including Best Original Screenplay.
I said, can I go to the bathroom?
You can, but you may not.
Well, can I or can't I?
I don't think you understand the subtleties of the English language.
It established young Elijah Wood as an actor who could bring charisma, pathos, and gravitas to even child roles. The scene where he thinks he's burnt down his dad's shop? Sweet. Also released in 1990 is the TV film Child in the Night, the melodramatic story of a son who sees his father mercilessly murdered by a hook-handed assassin. The highlight of this one is undoubtedly a vision that young Elijah Wood has of his mom banging Captain Hook, a WTF moment that makes the movie sound a lot more exciting than it really is.
And he sees his mom in bed. They're kissing.
For a poster as provocative as this one, I was expecting a lot less walking around and talking, and a lot more hooking.
I begged my mom for this special doll. They cost a lot, and we were poor. But she got it for me, somehow. About a month later, I was playing with my girlfriend on her farm, and I dropped my doll accidentally down a well. She just disappeared, and I felt so bad. My mom kept asking me where my new doll was, and I just...
Starring Anastasia Steele's real-life parents, 1991's Paradise is about a young boy named Willard who has to leave his mother to stay with his mom's friends. As they get to know Willard, Mr. and Mrs. Steele's grief over their young son's death is healed, and they get back together. Paradise is the most forgettable film I've ever seen, and I will never think of it again after this moment. Deo is an insufferable little TV movie about a 35-year-old woman who gets pregnant and starts hallucinating her imaginary friend from childhood, who is named Deo, you know, after the Banana Boat song. This movie was so brainless that I could only watch it for about 10-minute chunks at a time.
I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him.
under here?
What's the matter with you?
Forever Young is a 1992 film written by J.J. Abrams that I'd pitch as Captain America meets E.T. Mel Gibson is a World War II fighter pilot whose perfect life is ruined when his fiancée goes into a coma. During his grieving process, he does the natural thing, which is to ask his scientist friend to cryogenically freeze him for a year as part of an experiment. Unfortunately, everyone forgets about this experiment, and poor Mel wakes up in 1992. And little Elijah Wood hides him in his treehouse, and hijinks ensue. It's cliche, sentimental, and stupid, but it's buoyed by winning performances from Mel Gibson, Elijah Wood, and Jamie Lee Curtis. Released that same year, Radio Flyer is a soppy,
It was a time when imagination was power,
self-important film
when brothers learned to count on each other.
from the director and writer respectively of The Goonies and The Sandlot that harnesses little of what makes those movies fun. I've never seen The Goonies, sorry Sean Astin. The script sold for a whopping $1.25 million, but did not pay dividends with the critics or at the box office. It's the story of two brothers' plan to evade their abusive stepfather by flying away on a little red wagon.
And when a big idea came from a little red wagon.
The ending of the film is maddeningly ambiguous, and in my opinion is either saccharinely glossing over the serious ramifications of abuse, or is implying something darker than the rest of the film has tonally earned. Disney's The Adventures of Huck Finn receives immediate points for 11-year-old Elijah Wood's adorable young hobbit in suspenders ensemble. A spunky, by-the-books Disney romp, Huck Finn has all of the assets and all of the drawbacks of being a Huck Finn film. Young Elijah manages to carry the film without getting too annoying, which is an impressive feat for how big his hair is.
Oh, thank you for the compliment, sir.
1993's The Good Son is kind of a fascinating movie that I've never heard anyone say anything good about. Greenlit after Fox noticed that Home Alone and Silence of the Lambs were both popular movies. Macaulay Culkin plays a child psychopath in a film that, while wrongly thought and conceived on every level and made for no viable audience whatsoever, entertained me the whole way through. While Kevin is not ultimately convincing in his role, I was still invested in Elijah Wood's well-acted role as his innocent victim.
But you better stop telling lies about me, because no one's gonna believe you. Sooner or later, they're gonna find out about you. Who's they? My dad? My mom? I told your mom. Why would she believe you? She's my mom, not yours.
From a young age, it seems everyone knew that he was at his best when wide-eyed with terror.
Hey, Mark. Don't fuck with me.
1994's North has consistently been called one of the worst films ever made. Directed by the usually spot-on Rob Reiner,
From Rob Reiner
Pants, that's
comes
what
a
I
new
know.
comedy about a kid named...
who called the film a little slice of a fable about a kid who travels the country looking for a set of perfect parents, because his, played by Jason Alexander and Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who are just to the tip of the celebrity cameo iceberg, don't compliment him enough. The best way I can describe this movie is that it feels like a daydream sequence that you'd be sick of after 30 seconds in another movie, except it's the entire movie. And yes, Bruce Willis plays North's guardian angel, and yes, he spends a significant portion of the movie wearing a pink Easter Bunny costume.
The one thing that we cannot control in this life is who our parents are.
You can't make this stuff up. The War, another 1994 movie, is set in Mississippi in the 1970s. It stars Kevin Costner, Elijah Wood, and a bunch of kids who spend the movie running around and fighting in the woods. I love this sentence on the Wikipedia page where it says, "The film, despite weak box office and negative reviews, gained Wood an award for his performance." Like an Academy Award? Kids' Choice Award? I'm gonna need more information. I thought the interactions between the kids felt true, the father-son bond important, and the dramatic end, which involved a bunch of kids almost drowning in a water tower, compelling. And it's not surprising to me that this is the film that made Roger Ebert call Elijah Wood the most talented actor in his age group in Hollywood history. The 1995 movie Flipper sees Elijah Wood in his first bona fide teen role. He plays Sandy Ricks, a cool, happening sort of kid who likes rock music and wearing tiny sunglasses. Elijah Wood has since stated that he took this part mainly so that he could swim with dolphins, and I for one do not blame him one bit.
It's my vacation. You know, I come down here, I play with dolphins, I get to be in the Bahamas. I mean, this is amazing, and it's a learning experience too, because I get to be with these guys a lot.
The dolphin is dead. Did you know this?
Yes. No, I did not know that. That's terrible.
Died in a car accident.
Even if Flipper is so bland and forgettable that he couldn't even scrape up a win in the Best Animal Star category of the Kids' Choice Awards, losing to his nemesis, Willie. 1996's The Ice Storm, directed by Ang Lee, is set against the backdrop of tumultuous social change in the 70s, starring two suburban couples and their children, who cheat on each other and experiment with love and whatnot. I thought it was perfectly fine. It won Best Screenplay at Cannes, and surprisingly makes an appearance in this book. In a last-minute twist, Elijah Wood decides to go for a walk during the titular ice storm and is electrocuted and dies, trivializing all of the problems these people have been struggling with throughout the course of the film. By 1997, Elijah Wood had been in a lot of very good, very real movies, so either he was just really drawn to this TV movie of Oliver Twist for the source material, or he just wanted an excuse to flaunt his incredible Cockney accent.
I'm always gonna snitch that apple and get yourself caught. Stealing's an art. I don't know with amateurs mucking up the business.
Why does he look like Snape's weird grandson? Deep Impact, released the same summer as Armageddon, is a 1998 disaster movie that opens with young Elijah Wood noticing a comet on collision course with the Earth during an amateur astronomers meeting. Then the rest of the movie proceeds boringly, with no memorable characters and few memorable scenes. From the director of Shark Boy and Lava Girl, Robert Rodriguez, comes 1998's The Faculty. It's a goofy sci-fi horror film about a group of high school students who realize that their teachers are being transformed into giant cephalopodic aliens. The movie is dumb and reasonably fun, and according to Wikipedia, has developed a cult following since its release, though I have never seen any evidence of this. Okay, the bumblebee flies anyway. I, of course, was immediately drawn to this movie when I read the title.
According to all known laws of aviation, there is no way that a bee should be able to fly.
Barney Snow wakes up in the hospital with no memory of how he came to be there. He goes to this youth hospital full of terminally ill kids and has to learn the secrets of his past to unlock his future.
Its wings are too small to get its fat little body off the ground.
The movie is a boring, slow drama until there's a bizarre twist at the end, where it turns out that Barney actually has cancer, and he was given memory loss in the theory that if he didn't know he had cancer, it would stop the cancer.
The bee, of course, flies anyway, because bees don't care what humans think is impossible.
But I do have to agree with Rowan on this one. I bought this movie. Physically. I don't have it with me right now, so you're just gonna have to trust me on that, but it was not available on any digital platforms, so I now own it. I can watch it whenever I want now, which is going to be never. The 1999 film Black and White has everything. Mike Tyson, Brooke Shields playing a documentarian making a film about white kids who like hip-hop, Robert Downey Jr. playing her flamboyant gay husband, Michael B. Jordan's film debut, Elijah Wood trying to use the N-word, Ben Stiller playing a bookie cop, Jared Leto for some reason. Basically, this movie is all over the place. I can't say I hated it, but I also can't say it's good. I respect 2000's Chain of Fools. It has perhaps one of my favorite casts of disparate actors I have ever seen. Steve Zahn is a pathetic hairdresser with a hilarious mullet who gets involved in the world of crime when he accidentally impales Jeff Goldblum with his scissors.
Once upon a time, there was a barber.
Wow, hey.
A bad barber.
Ooh.
And not the smartest banana in the bunch either.
So now he and his best friend, Boy Scout leader David Cross,
A large timber scout.
have to decide what to do with the priceless gold coins they find in Jeff's bag. Elijah Wood plays a teenage hitman who is emotionally traumatized by his parents' suicide, which is bizarre and kind of wonderful.
I'm the hitman.
I mean, the movie is bad, don't get me wrong.
I've never smelled human death before, you know? Only squirrels.
Most of its attempts at comedy fall flat, the only real upside is the cast, and it's super 90s, the plot is impossible, and it has some dated and unfunny jokes, but I will always have a strange fondness for it. The cats are deciding to play tag right now, so I hate it as much as you do. The Lord of the Rings movies are some of the greatest movies of all time, and I don't need to discuss them here. Basically, I'm gonna gloss over this, but if an actor is in The Lord of the Rings, they could never make another movie again, and I would still consider their career a slam dunk. The enormity of these movies will outshadow
I don't think you understand the subtleties of the English language.
anything that any of them could ever do again. And I think Elijah Wood and all of these actors recognize this and don't resent it. They know how special the movies are and how lucky they were to be in them. Also, Elijah is great in them, and as far as I'm concerned, perfectly cast, perfectly played. Don't need to talk about it anymore. Go watch the press junket videos if you care. Ash Wednesday, released between Fellowship and The Two Towers, is a very boring crime drama about brotherhood where practically nothing happens. Set in Hell's Kitchen on Ash Wednesday 1983, Elijah Wood plays a brother who's been in hiding from the Irish mob. You can skip it. The Adventures of Tom Thumb and Thumbelina is a direct-to-video animated film, and it's awful. Mercifully only 74 minutes long, the highlight is the Mole Hole song.
Welcome to my stone, to my crown, to my ermine, to my town. Welcome to my hole.
You want the baby boy's hole, you gotta pay the troll toll.
All I Want, or sometimes Try 17, represents the worst of the bargain bin at the grocery store. Elijah Wood plays an annoying kid, annoyingly named Jones Dillon, who drops out of college because his roommate likes ska music. And moves into an apartment where he meets all sorts of wacky neighbors. Elijah Wood has two love interests, neither of which he deserves because he is a terrible person. I cringed out of embarrassment for the characters, and for myself, multiple times. I really enjoyed this 1-star review from James on Letterboxd, who wrote, Elijah Wood plays a polished sphere who just looks at things for a little too long. From BFF of Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez, comes Spy Kids 3D, Game Over. I had never seen a Spy Kids movie before this one, and I thought I might be a little bit behind, but it turns out there was nothing to get. As far as I can tell, the movie has almost nothing to do with Spy Kids 1 and 2. In the beginning of the film, I caught a glimpse of what makes Spy Kids movies maybe fun, but then the 90% of the movie that takes place in a neon, rubbery, totally green screen environment took off, and I realized I was gonna have to suffer. Elijah Wood plays the Guy, a mystical figure built up as the only player who can supposedly beat the toughest level of the game, who is comically struck by lightning almost immediately. I wonder if Quentin has seen this movie. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is a widely loved film that I don't think I need to explain to you. Elijah Wood has a small but not insignificant part as a memory technician who turns out to be a little He's often stated that beyond his own involvement with it, it's one of his favorite films, and I totally respect that. It's a good one. From the director of Spy Kids 3D and the faculty, Robert Rodriguez, comes Sin City, the adaptation of Frank Miller's dark, gritty noir graphic novel. Debuting a never-before-seen graphic visual style, the film was a surprise box office and critical success in 2005. Told through a series of loosely tied together vignettes, Elijah Wood basically cameos as a cannibalistic killer named Kevin who meets a most gruesome end. The film isn't my thing, but I can appreciate its commitment to a visual style that hasn't been put to film before or since, as far as I know. Also released in 2005, Everything Is Illuminated is the likable story of an American Jew who travels to the Ukraine to find a woman who saved his grandfather during the Holocaust. It's the directorial debut of Liev Schriber, director of Academy Award for Best Picture winner X Men Origins Wolverine. Oops, sorry, I meant Spotlight. Elijah Wood wears these hilariously thick glasses that make his already giant eyes look even bigger, and I will admit I found it distracting. Green Street Hooligans, or just Green Street, man, you really know a movie's gonna be good when even the people who made it don't know what it's called, is about an American who visits his sister in England and gets involved with the cult-like gangs that rise out of football fanaticism. The film is watchable, even if I don't believe that Elijah Wood, king of immediately falling down when danger arises, can hold his own in these outright violent brawls. The movie ends with the meaningless death of its most sympathetic character, and, in my opinion, does not tack on the appropriate message. Elijah Wood's character ends up coming off like the guy who goes to England for a semester abroad and comes back saying Q and won't stop mentioning how he can't get used to driving on the right side of the road again.
No, mercy me! I keep forgetting I'm in the colonies.
Bobby is a 2006 movie about the day Robert Kennedy was shot through the eyes of everybody who isn't Bobby Kennedy. It has a giant cast but can't commit to any one story, meaning the film quickly becomes muddled and forgettable. Elijah Wood marries Lindsay Lohan in this movie. I hate Happy Feet. I hate the samey look of the penguins where they all look like the same model with just a liquefy tool liberally applied. I hate that it's a jukebox musical, which feels especially weird for a movie all about humans infringing on penguins' habitats and the negative effects it has. These penguins are just people. They use human pop culture references and sing Queen. I was half expecting a twist where we find a boombox that washed ashore and that's how the penguins know these songs, but no. And we established that humans don't speak penguin, but we never establish if penguins speak English. Which penguin translated in my room to penguinese? Also, doesn't it seem like the majority of the penguins should be dancing and Mumble should be the one who can sing? Because dancing is something that a penguin could conceivably do. I think it's more surprising that a penguin could sing Prince than it is that a penguin could stomp around to a beat. The movie does get points at the end for attempting to shift into a psychological thriller about the cult factor of organized religion, but why is it also a jukebox musical? Paris Je t'aime is an anthology film consisting of 18 shorts, all by different directors, all taking place in Paris. Of course, this means that there are some good ones and some bad ones. There's a one-take one from Alfonso Cuarón, a gay one from Gus Van Sant, a Steve Buscemi one from the Coen brothers, and a vampire one that has Elijah Wood in it. Yes, of course, Elijah Wood is in the weird vampire one. My favorite, and I think most people's favorite, is The Closer, directed by Alexander Payne, and starring character actress Margot Martindale. You can probably find it on YouTube. It's very touching. Day Zero is a film about the military reinstating the draft in present-day 2007 that nobody enjoyed, including me. To add insult to injury, like The Bumblebee Flies Anyway, I had to buy it. Amazon got me really excited because, based on the reviews, I realized that there was a 1 in 3 chance that I was actually receiving a cat calendar. You know I would have reviewed the cat calendar. 2008's The Oxford Murders, starring Elijah Wood and John Hurt, boasts a rightly earned Rotten Tomatoes rating of 10%. The plot, as far as I'm concerned, is inscrutable and boring, and anything good within it was tainted by a supposedly sexy scene involving some spaghetti that made me never want to eat spaghetti again. 9 is a Tim Burton-produced apocalyptic animation that is just very much not my thing. Elijah Wood voices the titular character, and I understand how the artsy emo kids of Tumblr in 2009 were into the vibes, but I'm just not, and I thought it was dull. Kind of like The Big Chill, but without the soundtrack or any brains. The Romantics is a useless movie about rich white people and their stupid problems, which would be easily solvable if they just talked to each other. Elijah Wood plays a character's drunk brother, and then everyone forgets they were ever in this movie.
Tomorrow is going to be fantastic. That is, if they even make it to the altar. Cheers to that, huh?
Happy Feet 2 takes everything that was weird about Happy Feet tonally and turns it into an Ice Age film. It's difficult to believe George Miller directed both, though maybe he just wrote the script and produced it and then approved some new drawings and called it a day. The highlight, of course, is 2 new characters, a pair of shrimp.
We are krill.
In a loving flirtation ship played by Matt Damon and Brad Pitt.
Fascinating! What is it? I have no idea. Wow! What's it for? Perhaps it's a momentary relief from the existential terrors of existence.
2012's Celeste and Jesse Forever is a romantic comedy film starring Rashida Jones and Andy Samberg. It's basic rom-com stuff, and Elijah Wood is Rashida Jones' gay business partner at her marketing firm, and I don't know why I'm talking, I have nothing to say about this. Revenge for Jolly is a dark comedy film that, for no reason, stars its own writer, a sucking void of charisma with no Wikipedia page. Elijah Wood appears prominently on the poster, along with Kristen Wiig. Combined, they probably have about 5 minutes of screen time.
Even for you two.
Get 2 beers, Thomas. Please. Sure.
Oscar Isaac, who I adore, does what he can with this bad-hearted revenge tale, which sees the protagonist go on a killing spree after the death of his favorite dog. It's kind of like John Wick, if it tried to be a comedy where Bobby Moynihan gets shot in the face. Elijah Wood starred in 2012's Maniac, a remake of one of only 3 films that made Gene Siskel walk out of the theater. It's a creepy psychological slasher film, shot entirely from the point of view of the killer, which at least adds some art house intrigue to the excessive shock and gore. It means that there's never any question of where the murderer is, and no real jump scares. But on the other hand, could Elijah Wood jumping out of the shadows ever really be scary? The director wanted Elijah Wood because he thought audiences would find the turn from his good guy nature shocking and off-putting. Does he work as the embodiment of pure evil? Well, he's good at making his eyes blank and creepy. As you all know, Elijah Wood makes a brief appearance at the beginning of The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey, which of course led to a lot of YouTube comments about how he still looks young because he is in possession of the One Ring.
I'm 36 now, and I don't look 36. I still get carded.
You still get carded?
Oh, absolutely.
That's
Every time I
fantastic.
get alcohol or cigarettes, I get carded. Don't smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pawnshop Chronicles is the kind of movie that can be found for free on Amazon Prime. It feels like the first film written out of college by a guy who really likes the Coen brothers, Tarantino, and B-movies. It tells 3 overlapping stories involving items found within the titular pawn shop. It received overwhelmingly negative reviews, some of which I think were a tad unfair, as it can be lively and kind of fun, but ultimately those bright spots only serve to muddle the film's strange and kind of depraved tone. Elijah Wood plays another murderous psychopath, and he meets another gruesome end. Which is honestly a trend I didn't see coming. I don't recommend it. Straight from the red box, we have Grand Piano, bizarrely written by Damien Chazelle, which makes it sound like a joke Princess Carolyn would rattle off on BoJack. It's the story of a pianist's comeback performance, where he's threatened by a sniper who threatens to kill him if he plays a single wrong note. Also starring John Cusack and Alex Winter. This is a strange but enjoyable movie that operates almost in real time, and the ridiculous high-concept plot is elevated by some pitch-perfect acting. Kind of a reverse to The Faculty, Cooties takes itself less seriously and stars Elijah Wood and Rainn Wilson, elementary school employees who have to defend themselves from their students who have been turned cannibalistic by some bad chicken nuggets. I was immediately put off by an opening shot of chicken nuggets, one of my personal favorite food items, oozing some disgusting green goo, and the movie never won me back. Another Prime Video find, Elijah Wood starred in 2014's Open Windows, a found-footage thriller that operates around the unsustainable gimmick of taking place mostly on a computer screen. The plot is kind of incomprehensible, and it tests its audience suspension of disbelief to the extreme. Set Fire to the Stars is about the real-life relationship between the self-destructive poet Dylan Thomas and, whoever Elijah Wood is supposed to be. It's the kind of movie your put-upon teacher will put on to go along with your poetry unit and make you fill out a questionnaire during it to make sure that you're not asleep. It's perfectly fine. The Last Witch Hunter is a kind of hilarious film about Vin Diesel being the last witch hunter. He hunts witches.
You're the witch hunter.
Yeah.
Michael Caine plays his human priest guide, and honestly, the entire movie was worth it to hear the immortal Vin Diesel call Michael Caine kid. The fact that they thought this was franchise material is very funny to me. Another Redbox find, The Trust is a 2016 black comedy starring Elijah Wood and Nicolas Cage as two cops who find themselves in the middle of a heist.
You want me to rob a drug dealer for you?
Rob a drug dealer?
No, I don't buy Elijah Wood as a cop, or Nick Cage as anything other than Nick Cage at this point, but he doesn't look like he's half asleep here, and he plays a pretty fun character. And veer into boring territory. The final standoff is tense, and Nick Cage and Elijah Wood have real chemistry.
Something like this is worth doing if you can keep it quiet and simple.
The way you just said that right now, that's kinda cool.
I suspect they're friendly in real life, as Wood went on to produce Cage's critically praised Mandy. So that's cute.
I haven't heard anything from your department about this. You just reached for my phone.
Yes, I did.
In a suspicious manner.
No, I wasn't, I swear.
That would suggest that you're here under the auspice of illegal activity.
I'll give you $100.
Okay.
I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore is a movie that I legitimately like and would actually recommend. It won the Grand Jury Prize at Sundance in 2017 and saw the union of two Peter Jackson alum, Melanie Lynskey of Heavenly Creatures and Elijah Wood. It's a comedy thriller about two misfits who, are you detecting a theme, find themselves in the middle of some crime stuff. Elijah Wood is legitimately very good, playing a Dwight Schrute-ish loner who really believes in his nunchucking ability.
All right, tough guy. You had your chance.
Oh, jeez.
It's good. It's the film that made me believe I might find another gem like it somewhere in this mess. Come to Daddy is a title that makes me uncomfortable, and so does the movie, due in no small part to the worst haircut that has ever been seen on film.
That is such a great character choice.
It's a lot of fun.
Elijah Wood plays Norval, a guy who decides to visit his estranged father in the middle of nowhere. A case of mistaken identity later, he's on a bloody adventure to save himself and his real father. It's gleefully bloody and grimy and received pretty good reviews from people who appreciate that kind of thing. As for me, I learned that it's possible to kill someone with a roll of plastic wrap. That leaves only No Man of God, which I'm sure I will be mustering up the $6.99 to watch soon. I have hopes. I will never not have high hopes. I am a fool. Elijah Wood, if you watch this, please don't be offended that I don't like all of your movies. We clearly have some differences in taste, and I thought the video would be better if I was honest. I loved you in The Lord of the Rings, and I think you are one of the best child actors of all time. Please make more movies like I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore. And thank you for never acting annoyed about all of the Lord of the Rings questions.
Do you wear wigs?
No, I do not.
Have you worn wigs?
No, I have not.
Will you wear wigs?
Maybe.
When will you wear wigs?